On the 7 we had been there was
This way, yeah. I am. We're not even in the room yet, though, so we're not getting ready yet. It's running late. We're in the foyer still. Can you see it, but don't publish it? Oh, good. Good on you.
Yeah. It's 4 days, isn't it? No, I haven't any updates.
First time in years.
Hey everyone, and we're actually going to do it outside.
Going outside.
You could jump in here somewhere, Julian, underneath, so then the island's still around this way if you want.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Right. Could you tell us in what state the woman was found when
We're actually going to, we're going to start off with
Oh,
a statement
okay,
from Inspector
sure.
Olaf Jensen and Jeff Owen, who's the Wakatipu Operations Manager from Department of Conservation, and then there'll be a chance for some questions.
Okay, yesterday we were advised by the Czech consulate of 2 missing trampers in the Rootburn area. The 2 were a male and female Czech citizens. We commenced some initial inquiries at the Rootburn car park of Gnorki End and found a vehicle belonging to the missing couple. As a result of that, we initiated a SAR operation involving police and land SAR personnel, involving the use of a helicopter which flew the Rootburn track, checking huts and areas of high risk around avalanche. At the Mackenzie hut, we located a female, and on speaking to her, we ascertained that her male companion had died some days earlier. The couple had set off on their journey on the 26th of July, and would appear the incident where a fall has taken place occurred on the 28th. After that, the female has spent a number of nights in the open before she was able to make it to the Mackenzie hut on the 31st of July, and has spent the remaining time at that hut. As in previous media statements, it's obviously a very unusual case given the length of time that the female was at the hut. It's probably been unhelpful, some of the commentary about why she wasn't found. The fact is that no one had been through the hut that time, and given the severe weather conditions and her physical capability, as a result of the ordeal, that she was not able to make it out, and made the right decision in staying put at the hut until rescue. Our thoughts are with the young lady at the moment and the next of kin of the deceased male. At this time, we're undertaking a recovery operation on the Rootburn, which we hope to have completed by nightfall tonight. Thank you.
What do we know about the fall itself?
That's part of obviously the investigation today. We've got the team in there. The young lady's been interviewed. We're piecing together that interview with obviously has seen reconstruction today. So obviously this is a matter, a coronial inquiry, but yeah, it's early days as far as the investigation goes.
How far from the hut did that happen?
It's approximately about 2 kilometres from the hut.
Inspector, who raised the alarm?
That come through via the Czech consulate that had concerns about these 2 people that hadn't been heard from for some time.
How old are they?
They're in their late 20s and early 30s.
And what's their relationship?
They're a travelling companion. We'll make some release of further details about the 2 tomorrow.
How long have they been in New Zealand for?
Since we think around January.
And what were their plans while they were in New Zealand?
Travelling and we believe a working holiday.
What was the vehicle? Was it a car they bought themselves or a rental vehicle?
The vehicle belonged to them, yes.
Were they experienced in the back country?
They had some experience. They're reasonably well equipped for a walk, but obviously the conditions they were in were quite severe.
Can you tell us about the warden's hut where she's been staying? Or is that something for the doc?
The doc might want to comment on the hut.
Did police know if there were 5 weeks of rations or if they had how many rations they had on them at the time?
They're equipped for their trip, but obviously that the female was able to source some food from the hut at the Mackenzie hut there.
No locator beacon, Inspector?
No personal locator beacon.
So no suspicious circumstances all around this at all?
At this stage, we're treating that as an investigation as far as obviously a colonial inquiry. We're still piecing together what actually happened, but at this stage, the early indications are that the A4 has taken place in the track. They had become sort of disorientated and were off the track, but the snow was significantly deep. Had covered track markers.
Has the woman explained why she didn't attempt to walk out?
As I said before, around her physical capabilities, her some of the injuries that she had meant that she just could not walk, and given her experience and obviously avalanche risk, she decided it was best for her safety to remain in the hut, and that was the correct decision to make.
What kind of state was she in when police first interviewed her, first met her?
We won't comment as far as the interview goes, but she was actually relieved, obviously, yesterday to be rescued. But as I said before, she's actually undergone quite a traumatic experience.
Did she do well to survive?
She, as I said, she's done the right thing, stayed put, and obviously recovered from her ordeal and didn't put herself at further risk.
What resources were available to her in the hut as far as food and water and that sort of thing?
She was able to access food from within the hut, and obviously there was firewood and gas that she was able to keep herself warm.
What can you tell us about the area where the gentleman's fallen?
Should have a better picture on that tomorrow. It's obviously it's alpine area, reasonably steep snow. As I said, they were off the track.
And she's gone to his aid?
Yes, she was with him at the time of the fall, and as I said before, we're just reconstructing how that's occurred.
Had their families in Czechoslovakia been?
Next of kin had been advised, yes.
Did she need any medical attention when she came out?
She was treated at the hospital, but didn't require anything else other than an examination.
Had they alerted anyone to where they were going?
No, very very limited detail as far as what their intentions were.
You mentioned some injuries there, Olaf. What were those injuries she sustained?
She's obviously suffered some minor frostbite, it looks like, and obviously spent some time out, which would appear possibly hypothermia was an issue as well.
Is there any question she's gone out of the bush and come back in?
Sorry?
Is there any question that she's left the bush and then come back in during that time?
No, she's been around the hut, as I said before, that her injuries have probably prevented her from travelling too far from the hut.
Had she returned from the hut back to the mail?
No.
CIB staff in the area, have they been in the area?
As with any death, that we will have specialist staff go in there, and that includes an investigator and a photographer.
How many staff from the police are in there?
There's 3 police staff.
Probably just got time for a couple more questions.
How many nights did she spend outside before making her way to the hut?
3 nights.
Is there a radio in the hut?
There is a radio in the hut, but she was unable to make it work.
All good?
Has the track been passable in that area in the last month?
No. As I said before, there's probably some ill-informed commentary around what that track is like, but as I said before, where they were track markers were not visible. Really extreme conditions what they've been got stuck in.
Are we aware if any trampers passed by the hut in the last month?
No trampers. The female has made signs out in the snow about seeking help, and she was actively signalled for the helicopter yesterday when it flew in.
Can you tell us about the nature of those signs?
Like an H in the snow for help.
She sounds quite resourceful. Do you have any comment around how she's gone through all this ordeal?
Oh no, I won't be making comment about that.
Okay, thanks guys. We'll be looking to do an update tomorrow morning, and until that stage there's nothing else we can say.
Another update like this stand-up update?
We'll look at that in the morning.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. And is Doc going to be speaking at all? Or?
Do you want to
speak.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Would you mind jumping a little bit further into the middle? Yeah, thank you.
We'll just start with your name and position, please.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Owen. I'm the Operations Manager for the Wakatipu District for the Department of Conservation. And like Olive, we're very concerned for the young lady, and our deepest thoughts and our sympathies go to her and her partner that she's lost, or her travelling companion, and naturally their families. For us, it's not unusual for police to be leading this. This is their territory, and we're there to support and advise. We will take the lead from them in terms of any investigation and what might come of that. We're naturally always concerned that people get hurt in our wilderness. We try to do our best to make it as safe as we practically can, but for the moment now we are in the middle of winter for the southern part of the South Island. It's treacherous at the best of times, and like Olive, I'm concerned about some of the comments of people who really may have their own varying capabilities and understanding of the terrain, and it's very hard to impose your experience on somebody else. So at the moment, we're thinking of them, we're supporting her as much as we can with police, and we'll continue to support police with what's required of us as well.
How did she gain access to the warden's hut?
As far as I'm aware, she's forced entry into, we have warden's huts across the route burn. They're there for our summer wardens, which is October to April of any given year. And during the winter we winterise the track, which means we put out avalanche signs, we close our own huts up, we leave the public huts open because we do know that there are people who still are capable of walking through the winter months. She would have forced the hut, and good on her for making that decision.
What were the kind of supplies in the hut, do you know?
Generally we don't leave too much there, but there would have been heating available to her. There would have been some other resources just to keep her warm. Our wardens may or may not have left food behind. We don't encourage food to be left up on the tracks over the winter months, simply just because of the rodent issue. But fortunate too for her, she was in an area where Ultimate Hikes operate a lodge, and I think that was a bit more resourced than our particular hut. And my understanding, she may have made access to that as well. So again, for all the commentary and given the time that she's out there, you'd have to say her last decision was a very good decision, to just hunker down and wait for somebody to come along.
How'd she break into that hut?
That I don't know. I'm just assuming she would have forced a lock of some kind.
Would it have been beneficial for them to have a locator beacon? Could have been over a lot sooner, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's always been our encouraging message, as it is with police, is that if you're going into the adventurous space or into the wilderness, it's almost a given these days. And of course, if they had one and they were able to activate it, we don't know the reasons why we're in this situation. But yes, we would have been alerted a lot earlier, and may have been a different outcome, may not have been a different outcome, but there's always value in carrying a beacon.
Can you just give us a little bit more of a description about the actual warden's hut? Like, how many beds are in there? Is there a kitchen? What can people expect if they were living in there?
Yeah, well, the warden's hut, the one at Mackenzie's Basin, which is the territory of my Fiordland counterpart, but essentially they're generally 4 bunks with their own cooking and heating facilities, so they can be self-contained.